Hello and welcome to Dog Days, where we talk about all things cannabis. I am your hostess with the mostest, Holly B, and I'm in a new house and with new friends. Welcome to Citizen Green TV, y'all. The whole Doghouse team is in the house. I'm pleased to introduce my first guest, who is also my guest co-host, Mr. Bill Boots, president of Ethereal Gold Dispensary. Welcome to the Doghouse. Thank you for joining the team.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
And I would also like to welcome our next guest, who is our guest, Mr. Steve Peterson, president of Global Compliance Applications Corp of North America. Welcome to the Doghouse, Steve. Thank you for joining.
Woof, woof. There you go. I'm in the house.
Awesome. I love that. Okay, guys. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. We talk about all things cannabis. Bill, you are a dispensary owner, so you are a wealth of knowledge, and you're also from Waukesha, Wisconsin. So what's going on in Waukesha, Wisconsin?
Waukesha, Wisconsin. Well, we're still all hemp only, hemp and mushrooms. Do not have Medirect, so we have that going on. But things are going well. We've got probably a couple more years before we convert and legalize. So we're being patient and meanwhile doing sales online in the dispensary. And then we've also got automated self-serve kiosks.
That's super cool. I love that idea. How does that work exactly? Could you kind of expound on that? Because I've seen it online and I'm there like, this is genius.
So I'll explain the one we have in our vestibule because it gives us 24/7 sales. So basically you walk up and it doesn't really look like a vending machine. It's got a 32-inch touch screen. You tap on it and it comes up with a QR code. You scan in your ID. We've got an ID scanner that reads, make sure that you're 21 years legal age. And then you go through, pick your selections, and pay via credit card. As it said, it's 24/7.
So that's magic.
It is. It's and we have cannabis and mushrooms in there, and we've got 3 other machines around Waukesha and Brookfield, and one.
Oh, so you have more than one store?
No, we have one dispensary, but we have a machine over at Brookfield Square Mall, right over by the Barnes and Noble's entry down the hallway of it. One's at Salty Toad in Waukesha, and then we have one over at Fusion Liquor in Wales, Wisconsin.
Oh, that's really awesome. I love that idea. It makes it so accessible to folks, and that's so important.
Very much so. And that's our expansion plan.
Awesome.
Instead of having multiple dispensaries, get multiple.
That's really cool. That's
machines.
Smart. That's genius. Can I have one in my hometown?
Sure, actually, yes, you can. We can talk after the show.
Awesome. I love that. So we're looking at your website right now. I saw something on here that I find very interesting. It's about mushrooms. Can you tell me more about your mushrooms?
So we have all legal mushrooms, no psilocybin because that's only legal in research states. And I believe Oregon, Colorado, New Jersey are the first 3. We have products from several manufacturers. They all run through testing, so they don't have some of the issues that one of the brands is having a challenge with people getting sick online. I don't know if you've read about that one.
No, I haven't.
Very bad. Ironically, we were carrying that manufacturer when we started the dispensary and dropped them because they couldn't hit our testing standards. Right. So the mushrooms are a lot of fun. I'll pick the one that the run right there on the upper left that you have the bluish package. It's a blue raspberry from Treehouse. And the dosing, they have sort of a humorous dosing, is 1 to 3 is a day at the office, 3 to 6, and this is for squares of chocolate or the gummies, is a walk in the park because you can start to notice things shifting in colors and such. It's a little bit different. And then if you take over 6, you're on your own. We did have a customer who went fishing with a buddy and took a whole package, and it took him an hour and a half to put a worm on a hook. None of us have taken over 6 yet. We're just not that adventurous. I'm too old for that.
That sounds awesome. I love it. Actually, I was looking through your website before bringing you guys on, And I think you just have a new customer.
Oh, excellent. Let us know. Yeah, let us know. Glad to help. Yeah, we have quite a selection of everything's vetted. All of our products are tested the highest standard in the nation. We call it the Ethereal Gold standard. So instead of just testing for potency, which just isn't enough, all of our manufacturers have third-party independent test reports for pesticides, mycotoxins, microbials, solvents, and heavy metals and other contaminants, all that A, could ruin your experience, B, can be extremely detrimental to your health.
I agree 110%.
Yeah, that's one of our things that we absolutely 100% believe in and enforce. In fact, if you go to any product, you can actually pull up a test report for that product on a tab on the site. It's not buried in the back someplace.
As it should be. Awesome. Setting the standard. I love it. You know, I got so excited about your products that I kind of jumped right in. Let me back up a little bit. What is your backstory? What got you into the cannabis scene?
Our backstory is, after being we're on the technology side of vertical farming, cultivation, and sustainability construction, and pivoted during the pandemic because after years of abuse with football and volleyball and construction and putting in 10,000 pounds of land and stone, someone blew out his shoulder, tore his two muscles off the bone by 2.4 centimeters, have 3 pins, a redone rotator cuff, and they gave me a choice of Vicodin, which I know makes me motion sick from knee surgery before. I can't even look at it. I can't play video games. I can't do anything or watch TV, or Oxy. So I tried Oxy for 2 nights because I had to sleep sitting up in a couch for 2 months, which was a joy. And not only did Oxy not help me sleep, but it made me feel like I had the worst tequila and beer hangover ever. That's my worst hangover. I hate that. Yeah. And went to my surgeon and I said, I don't like this. I don't want it. And he smiles and he goes, well, that's a good thing. Just dispose of it. And not only is it extremely addictive, he goes, but do you know that 90% of people get constipated on Oxy? I'm like, why would I want to do that? I mean, I know the answers. I don't want to get into that right now unless you want us to. But so anyways, I said, hey, we've got legal connections because we're working with vertical farmers, cultivation throughout the United States on hemp and cannabis. And we have legal hemp products. And he said, well, try Delta 8 or Delta 9 and see what you think. And ironically, I took it for sleep. And it worked so well. I slept through the night, woke up the next morning feeling refreshed. And I'm like, why are we pushing these opioids? We all know the answer to that, so I'll leave that as an open question. But we ended up diving into the testing deep, spent 4 or 5 months, and got together as a group and decided that now is a good time to test retail because it was after the pandemic and nobody wanted to talk about sustainability or even vertical farming at that point in time. So we pivoted, launched Ethereal Gold Dispensary online on 4/20/22. And then we opened up our restaurant, or our dispensary rather, across the street from Casa Noble Restaurant on a side street. And we've grown 500% since then. Just recently launched our machines in December and January. So we're gaining great traction. We've grown 500% over the last 16 months, and we're looking to continue to rock and roll. Oh, and by the way, that's all bootstrapping and no paid advertising yet.
Awesome. Excellent.
So all organic, word of mouth, family-owned business at this time until we get much larger.
And another fantastic thing is 2% of all sales go to charity. Am I correct?
Correct. So what we do, we set up that out of the gate. We've been working with Last Prisoner Project and some local charities also. It's something we feel strongly about. We try to focus on as much as we can of people that have been impacted either individually or communities by the war on drugs because it was just a bunch of hoo-ha.
Yeah,
unless you like the movie Reefer Madness, then sure. Yeah, then it's a great idea.
You know, I still haven't seen that movie. I can't bring myself to
watch it. You have to.
On Weed and Whiskey TV. So.
You have to watch it.
Yeah. It's
at least.
Yeah. It's a good reference point. That's all.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it's a very interesting movie.
I'll probably lose a TV because I'll throw it out my window. I'm like, it's stupid.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
The advantage these days, there's a fast forward button. So you can get
Exactly.
the point in probably about 10 minutes. Yeah.
I would say more like 30 seconds, but if I recall. Yeah, I haven't seen it in years, but
Yeah.
it's a thing. That's all I could say. It's a thing.
That's awesome. Hey, so you have a new ad and we have it. Do you want to take a look at it?
Sure.
Let's roll. Let's roll his new ad.
Ethereal Gold Dispensary, the best kept secret around. Legal cannabis, mushrooms, and more straight to your doorstep. Each product is meticulously tested, setting the ethereal gold standard nationwide. And we're not just in it for the greenbacks, folks. We honor our troops and veterans with a special discount. Plus, 2% of every purchase goes to local charities. Visit etherealgolddispensary.com and use the code RADIOHIGH for 15% off. Enjoy yourselves, my friends.
That's awesome.
Thank you. I should have mentioned our atmosphere in the dispensary and online. We try to do a post-prohibition speakeasy. And we have everything sorted by experience in cannabinoid, play music from the 30s, 40s, so a little bit of 50s at the dispensary, and try to get more of a relaxed vibe. So far, that's been working very well.
And Bill, who would you define the age groups, the demographics of your audience?
Well, locally, we can sell 18, and our oldest customer that I'm aware of is 94. Okay. So it's quite a wide range. It just really depends upon what they're looking for. Some people are starting like me. They want help with sleep, inflammation, anxiety, pain assistance, and then, of course, just for fun.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, that we look at this medium that we're on terms of on Roku is the demographics is such that it's mostly 50 plus. And I refer to them as the kind of curious, because they need to see how it's used. And, you mentioned your experiences, right? They want to do it in a safe way versus walking into a store and feeling uneasy, right? Nobody wants that experience, right? So it helps the audience to understand how to use it, what questions to ask, and then go in as a prepared buyer. So,
no, very, 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 very much so. Yeah, I mean, the worst thing is you can roll the dice and go to a gas station or a C-store and buy stuff, and it's just testing, maybe. But I know they have they're advertising cannabinoids that don't even exist. And there's 140 cannabinoids, and you'd think that the marketing department could at least pick something. But some of them are selling THCX, which isn't even an actual cannabinoid that occurs in the plant. So there's things that are out there, and unfortunately, it's the world that we live in that there's a great deal of people out there that are still selling smoke, mirrors, and snake oil. So we're doing our best not to do that, and also to distance ourselves from the people that are.
Yeah, that's great. I totally agree with that 110%. I'm glad you chimed in, Steve. I don't want to seem like I'm ignoring you over there. You are the president of Global Compliance Applications Corp of North America. What is your organization all about?
Sure. We're a public company, actually. First off, we're listed on the Vancouver Exchange. We are a technology company. So we have our own Ethereum Layer 2 network on the blockchain. So everything that we build is around and using the benefits of the blockchain. So most people think of the blockchain as crypto related, but in effect, if you think about it, it's a great file cabinet that allows transactions, things to be, I shouldn't say transactions, but more, it allows us to put information about a brand, for example, help a brand tell their story and evidence it with, as Bill was referring to earlier, like lab reports and videos that show how they do sustainable practices. So those are the kind of things we can capture. And last year we added coupons, which a coupon is in effect is an NFT, a non-fungible token. So for companies like Bill's and others, we can help them provide coupons to attract people to come into their location or buy online and redeem that coupon. And we have a technology that when a consumer redeems that, downloads that coupon, it's in an e-wallet. So it also allows us to communicate with that e-wallet and push other coupons into that electronic medium, so that we can stay in touch with them. So yeah, you're showing the audience all the things about the blockchain. We have 2 other apps. You can look at Clear ESG. ESG.app is one of them, and that's where they can tell their communication stories. And then the other one is our uplift coupons. So yeah, that's an example of right there. In fact, if you go back up a little bit, and I'm sorry, that's an example of how a grower, for example, can share how they grew their plant. What were the genetics? What were the results? Were there other events? Because the thing that I think we're all striving for in this industry is consistency. And the term used is precision medicine, right? So why did the 5th time I had this material, it wasn't as good as the previous 4, right? Well, this would maybe highlight that the fact that the plant material was stored in an area for way too long and it got dried out, or, those kind of issues, right? So that's what the blockchain allows us to do for supply chain management, very simply. Okay. The next one
How
down.
cool is that? That is people. I sell things like at the farmers market and stuff, and if you're selling eggs or something, people want to know what that chicken ate, when it went to bed, when it woke up, when you took that egg out, was it refrigerator? Did you wash that egg?
Yeah. But it also allows you to communicate with your customers. So when the customer buys that product, they can provide feedback. So it can tell them how it worked for them, right?
Awesome.
So you start capturing that information. And that's a patent that we actually have on the technology. What you're showing the audience right now is Clear ESG. So the whole concept around Clear ESG is, think of it this way: a women-owned business, okay, that contributes into the community, that's organic. I'm hitting on a few items, right? That has a recycling policy, treats their employees well, a diversified board, okay? Clear ESG allows us to communicate that story on their behalf. So they get a landing page. It will show them, they can show YouTube videos. They can, and all the attestations is what we call it through the blockchain is evidence there. So when they scan that QR code, now they're getting the rest of the story. So we're not just dealing with one of the things that I see in this industry is a lot of people say, hey, listen, look at it. I got the grape version and the blueberry version and the orange version. But they're not getting and this is where Bill's focusing his business as well, is tell me who you are. Tell me why you started this. What was your journey? What was your goal, right? And how are you different from all the other brands? Anybody who takes the time to evidence all that, that becomes something that we feel is very valuable. The other thing too is, as we expand our audience, people are going to want to search on products from women-owned businesses, right? That are organic, certified organic, right? Right now in Illinois, how would they know that, right? So what we're doing is setting up for that day. So for Bill's organization, he can put a filter together and he'll be able to filter on those attributes so the consumer can see that directly. And then the last thing that we have is our coupons right there. Perfect. Very well, Holly. So the coupons is a token. It's an NFT, right? That say it's $1 off. And we do it primarily for our veterans. And we have coupons for our vets, and we have coupons for non-veterans. And the reason why is you have different rates. People who want to give a coupon to a vet is a little bit higher than maybe the general public. Also, because in some states, like here in Ohio, they only allow cannabis coupons for veterans. So
really, that's a new one.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, so it's a way to reach that audience, and so for us, it's been very successful, which led us to the whole weed and whiskey TV venture that we got involved with in the really late first quarter of this year. So,
have you done anything?
So you're kind of making way for the future of cannabis and cannabis users.
Yeah. Look, Weed and Whiskey is an organization that has 145,000 viewers. Okay. where the issue, and Bill being in tech understands, the challenge that we were trying to solve is how do we leverage technology to gain more consumer downloads. And if anybody who's out there looking to try to get somebody to download their app will know, it can be about 145, $5 million to get people to download your app. And so by working through a medium like Roku, where we have a dedicated following and we're adding more and more every day, that's a way we can reach them safe, where they feel safe in their home. So when they're watching a program, one of the programs that we have available, if they see something they want to buy, they can scan that coupon to their wallets while on the couch, place an order online, or you take it to the retailer and have it redeemed for their favorite product, and everybody wins. So yeah, you're seeing some of the shows here. That's Barbie. She has a very popular show, 80,000 followers.
Wow.
So that's a series that she has. She's a good girl. Okay.
I will not be doing that.
This is Jerry Lewis movie. So for those, he has a lot of the old war movies that he showed they released this last Friday. That's Jerry in the Hawaiian shirt there. Go back forward a slide. There you go. He just released his 100th episode every Friday at 4:20 Central. He did a podcast release, Weed and Whiskey News, and Jerry is a great man, very much the entertainer, and also he's been very busy with his own brand of products called Buzz Brands that are now in 500 plus locations throughout the United States. So all coming together from this medium. So
I love it, and we're going to be part of that medium, eh?
We certainly are. We'll be glad to put this up on the network and promote the Dog Days are coming. And don't forget, one of the things, some of our content providers, we have We Talk News in here, which has a weekly news talk show of national correspondents. We have a group called Grunt Style Foundation. So Grunt Style is a group that has over 5 million followers. You won't see it on there. If you go to the Weed and Whiskey channel, you'll see it there. But Grunt Style has 5 million followers. It's a group of veterans who start out of San Antonio printing T-shirts. So check them out. They have some great T-shirts. Sold a lot of them. They've also created a ton of content for veterans. So if you scroll down, go ahead. That's all right. There you go. Keep scrolling down a little bit further. You can see his Alien show, which is very funny if you get a chance to watch that. Yeah. Almost there. Keep going a little bit further. And so, for example, this is Citizen Green TV, where we have our daily sports talk show, which is an hour and a half to 2 hours long every day, mostly focusing on fantasy football. But go down a little bit further. There you go. And what you're going to see is this is the Grunt Style, and then also We Talk News. So go ahead and click on that trailer on the very first one there. But they have content in there about mental health and gaslighting and, great content, frankly, around veterans. So I don't know if you can hear the sound or not. But.
Nope. You got it, Mr. Sound Guy? No? Nope. Didn't want to do it for us, but that's an awesome tour of what's going on Roku and Citizen Green TV and Whiskey and Weed TV and whatnot.
Yeah, and we want to reach our veterans as best we can and help and show them how this plant can hopefully help them, whether it's THC and cannabis, or it's CBD related, or even mushrooms, Bill, right? In terms of how do we help them not do the things I'm hearing. For example, last night, driving back from a short visit with some family, I was hearing, I didn't realize this, that veteran women suicide has gone up 4 times over the male rate. in recent years. And they're saying the VA is really more focused on, our facilities are designed more for men's needs and not for the female vet who served and has, slightly different issues and sexual trauma issues and all the other stuff. So, and the fact that military women are really almost 40%, I think is the number I heard of the military force. More has to be done to be able to reach them. So our hope is, how do we use our technologies and our discountings, and how do we help them provide, medicine to them at a price that they can afford and benefit from. So,
well, as a disabled Army veteran, Air Force veteran, I thank you, Steve, and any kind of advocacy in that area is greatly appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you for your service.
On that note, let's go ahead and take a quick break. You kind of spurred something on in my mind. I have a short tribute to female veterans. If we could take about 2 minutes and be right back.
Great.
Sounds good.
Very impressive.
And we're back, everybody. That was fun.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Video.
Well done.
Got that from the VA. I was kind of surprised, pleasantly
Your
surprised.
timing was impeccable. I couldn't have set you up better on that one, huh?
I know. What a perfect segue. We're like totally vibing here. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm having a lot of fun. You guys have a lot of technical information that you're sharing with everybody and myself, and I'm learning a lot from you guys. I kind of jumped the gun again, Steve. What brought you into the cannabis field?
That's a great question. I was recruited actually to join a new dispensary in San Jose, California called Elemental Wellness, and loved it. I mean, I had a great experience. I worked with a great group of people. We, as an organization, we were very successful, I felt, and then I ran 2 other dispensaries in Oregon for a different set of investors, one in Portland and one in Eugene. So I just had a great experience working in that field, and then I got involved with venture capital for the industry. So Trust Capital out of New York, I was a partner and served served a lot of the technologies that supports the industry. And so that's kind of how I got to where I am now, is because I sold one of our portfolio clients to GCAC, Global Compliance, because I could see the match between the technology that they were offering and what we had as an idea for a solution. So well,
you were recruited.
I was recruited. Yes. I mean, these are big businesses, but once you get in there, you also realize different ways to set them up to hopefully be a little more successful, and frankly, even think about what an exit strategy might look like. I I spent most of my career in Silicon Valley, so for me, I also saw the impact it was having on people's lives. I tell people that not to judge. When you see people that could be your parents walking in the store and they're saying, "Dad has cancer. He can't. He doesn't want to smoke, but he needs something to help with his appetite." And you can see your staff working hard to provide recommendations for that person. That leaves you walking away every day feeling good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But in the names of these strains, can you imagine your little, 80-year-old grandma going in and asking for Gorilla Glue?
Yeah, no, very, and that's, I think, some of the thing that hurts the industry is Girl Scout cookies and Purple Haze and Sour Diesel, and you think of some of these names and you're like, oh my God, but yeah, it's the thing of the industry. But this is where, if we are truly moving towards the legalization model, and we have to, it's going to be more like pharmaceutical. And people are going to want to know, if I take this, I need a predictable result, right? When I take that blue pill, you have a predictable result, right? And what this is where, as an industry, we need, but the industry has not been very forthcoming in terms of evidencing that, right? Because they're worried about regulations and regulators, learning too much about their trade secrets. Look, you grow a plant, I get it. Some do it a little bit differently, but that's what you're doing. It's your genetics. I get it. But at the end of the day, we're not going to get beyond where we are today as an industry unless we move, can advance it and show that we're consistent, reliable, and a quality product. Very much what Bill's echoing in his, SOPs.
Yeah, it's almost medical grade what you're doing, Bill. Would you agree with that?
Medical grade might be a stretch, because there's so much more that goes into medical grade, and we also are trying to distance ourselves from big pharma. So I would say it's probably as close to medical grade without going to medicinal dispensary. In fact, we actually are set up our testing to be even more stringent than some of what the med rec places have. Ironically, Steve, you made me chuckle there when you mentioned the blue pill, because we do actually, because we've also had some other, we have primarily cannabis and mushrooms. We do have some other varieties, and we have a Blue Lotus vape that, are you familiar with what Blue Lotus does, Holly?
No.
I'll just say this. The military actually outlawed it because the guys were going on leave on shore, and they were getting Blue Lotus, and they were standing at attention much longer into the next day.
Oh, Bill. Yeah.
Oh, when we heard that, we're like, what? And it's like, no, it's actually legit. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, you did tell me about some of your mushroom drinks. What is the one that tastes like a cherry drink and a orange drink? And
that's actually a Delta 9 THC drink.
Okay.
So we do have mushroom drinks. The mushroom drinks primarily are more for, I personally use them more as a coffee substitute, because they're more of an energizing, and they do have some caffeine in them. Also, like the Odyssey on the lower right there, that's a mushroom drink. The drinks that you're referring to are actually THC beverages, and we have a brand called Foundry Nation that has a root beer float, a cherry float, and the cherry is the one I think you're talking about, because it's sort of like having, to me, maraschino cherries and whipped cream. Orange cream and then you're testing my memory after that. I believe those are all the cream ones. And those, in fact, I know as of this morning, we just sold out of root beer float again.
Oh, wow.
Very popular out of the gate.
Very cool. I'm almost positive you have a new customer on your hands here.
Yeah, the beverages, and you're on the beverage page, the beverages have been extremely popular in the last 9 months and are just really, really rocking. We've got some really good tasting products, because for a while when you bought a hemp beverage, it was either way over sweetened or it sort of tasted like you were mowing your lawn with your mouth. It was bad. Yeah, they were not good for a while, or bitter even. But these are actually quite delicious. In fact, there's several on here. The new one, the drink mix packet right there, that's a new one from Hometown. We just have another order coming in. Those, they sold out completely. They just released those.
Wow.
Nowadays is another beverage drink that you can get shots, which are, it's a citrusy, like a very mild margarita. It doesn't have the tequila or anything, but then you can also get bottles and mix it with beverage, juice, whatever you would like, or cocktails or mocktails. It's a very interesting how the beverage has just exploded in the last 6-9 months. It's been really good.
In fact, Bill, have you seen, a couple of years ago, I was seeing where yoga shops were basically dispensing CBD type drinks. And so their clients were coming in and attending a yoga class and then filling up their bottle or, whatever with a CBD drink.
I have not seen that, but certain products would make sense. Like CBG helps with inflammation, and it's a non psychedelic, so that would be viable. I've been using CBD because someone's getting way too old and end up messing up my sciatica and hamstring. But the CBG has been helping with that, and also some of the topicals. So I could see a CBD, just a general wellness type, or maybe a CBG drink being very popular for yoga.
Yeah, and they're mixing it also now with alcohol and beer, and so
that's an area we haven't treaded yet. Because there's not a lot of data on exactly how cannabis and alcohol really interact with each other.
That's interesting.
It does magnify it. But yeah, that's something that we've been sort of watching right now.
Yeah, there's some of the bars are there's a product called Canna Bliss out of Oregon, but we're starting to see some experimentation, mixology around it. For example, this is called Buzz Me Up from Buzz Brands, which is Weed and Whiskey's founder, and this is a THC and caffeine mix, which is kind of interesting. Thinking like that's hitting on both ends of body movement. One to pull you down and one to push you up. So I don't know if
I'd have to see what cannabinoids they have in that, if it's just Delta 9 THC and if it's a sativa or indica blend, because usually, especially for me, sativa is more of a head buzz and indica is more of a body relax. So that'd be very interesting. I'd have to see how they're doing that.
Yeah, so
and they're cooking cannabis too. I had talked to a young lady who is into her Creole background, and she cooks with cannabis in her cuisine.
Well, you're going to see some of this actually right on Weed and Whiskey. There's a couple of things. There's a series of a woman who's cooking with cannabis. Okay, so she has this, like 8-10 episodes, I think, already recorded. And then there was also a mixologist. It basically shows you it's like paper bartender. It's called at the very bottom if you put it in your search bar there. It talks about how to use. See it right there in the middle there. Click on, and then there's the cooking segment right next to it. Yeah, click on the paper bar. And they'll in there. There's one even infused with cannabis. Okay.
Neat.
So those are some examples where, again, how do we reach this audience who's looking to consume it in different ways and learn? That's what we're we feel like really strong about this whole network, because if we bring the best of that content out there and show people how they live their lives and enjoy this land, she does good cooking, but she does it in a way that maybe would some of those soldiers that Bill referred to would need a pill. So.
I think that's genius, because I have respiratory problems. I was deployed over in the desert, and the burn pits got a hold of me, and I was over and breathing that pea soup, nasty, toxic air for a whole year. So I'm starting to, my body's reacting to different things, and there's different triggers, and I have asthma now. Sure. So smoking is no longer an option for me. So these drinks and the cuisine and the alcoholic beverages are kind of speaking to me.
Yeah, and for most people, nobody wants to smell like weed. You know what I mean? So that's the other thing too. You know, it's
except for my husband. He's like, yeah, you know, this is some good stuff.
But you live on a homestead, so how many people do you run into? you know. Right. I always love walking past somebody in the streets, and you're like, oh, okay, well, we know where they work, you know. So,
caring is sharing.
It's like the Linus Hayes from Peanuts. Remember the character, right?
It's thinking more of Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah, there you go.
Get out of the old VW van and poof. Yeah.
So we were talking about consistency, guys. And right now there are little pockets of growers and cultivators. We call them craft growers, right? Yeah. So with the consistency thing in mind, you kind of see two different industries that would happen, because I would hate to see the mom and pop craft growers be pushed out of the market and be taken over by a bigger, replacement for big pharma, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, if you don't mind, Bill, this is dear to me. I mean, we featured craft growers, and because they were limited run, high quality products, so they were our top shelf products that we emphasized. And the problem right now is the way the licenses work in a lot of states. It's about square footage, right? So craft growers usually limited; they couldn't afford a bigger license, so they're kind of stuck with like a 25,000 square foot. The problem is the economics of a 25,000 square foot aren't the same as 100,000 square foot. And so, where I'm trying to help with the craft growers, for example, here in Ohio, is how do we tell their story so people even know there's a thing called craft, okay? And ask for it when they go to the stores, because right now they're getting squeezed out by the big brand companies who are controlling more and more of the retail space and not letting the small guys onto their shelves. So unfortunately, they're going to go away. That's nobody will buy it because their facilities are too small. Okay. Yeah. Now, what could save it? We educate, right? We do more to educate with videos about what does it mean to be craft, right? Yeah. If you also use as a reference the beer industry, when you have Anheuser-Busch and these big giants, Samuel Adams is the perfect example of a craft grower. And they came up with an alliance, and they set rules on what does it mean to be craft in the industry. They have the advantage, they have tap rooms. In the craft cannabis industry, there is no tap rooms yet. But when we do to have smoking lounges, that could be taking on the idea of craft, right? So when you go to a smoking lounge in, say, in Vegas, maybe they limit the product they carry, the brands they carry, to be just craft grow, or even allow a consumer to order ahead his or her plant. Right, so it's available when it gets harvested. They can show everybody, like, look, this is the plant. It's going to be harvested next week. Again, same things as you hear in the craft beer, right? It's being harvested. It's going to be available. I'm going to have a smoke party. Let's go to the smoking lounge and enjoy it there, where I can buy it, right?
Steve, you sound like a lot of fun. I want to hang out with you.
Yeah. It's we were saying the Peterson family is in the craft beer industry, the cannabis industry, and was in the wine industry. So we're the people to invite to your party.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So that's really
Wow.
funny.
1, 2, 3. Yeah. No, so I feel like with craft, it's an opportunity. They have to get out of their own way, though. There's a lot of pride, but they also have to do more to celebrate their industry and show, again, get under the weed, right? And show how they physically inspect things versus a 100,000 square foot type operation. So anyway, and frankly, as we go to legalization, the other, impact is going to be is a lot of Oregon and California growers are going to love opening up I-80 and seeing a lot of that product heading east, right?
Yeah.
And you can grow it outdoor in sunlight, right? And so, in fact, there was a great article about Planet 13. I don't know if you've heard of Planet 13.
I haven't heard it yet.
It spent a lot of money because of advertising rules, like all the the old Cheech and Chong bus that was smoking in the lobby to big graphics. They spent a ton of money, and their whole concept was people go to those facilities, will take pictures, and they'll share it with their friends. So that becomes their social media, right? Push. What they're finding is the guy went in there and he said, I just wanted something that was organic, grown, craft. And with all the superstore like Costco of there wasn't anybody who knew where that existed in the store. So that's screaming to me is the industry, the craft industry has to form their own alliance like the beer industry did, and do a better job educating. And frankly, we've reached out to craft growers here in Ohio, and we said, listen, let's film it. Put it on Weed and Whiskey so people, when they go into the store, can say, hey, I saw this story about craft. How do I get product Ancient Roots or whatever it's called, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think you're right. On the legalization is going to be a major thing because right now we're playing with one rule federally and then 50 little fiefdoms that are so different from each other that it's hard for growers to even make money, especially if it's in the hemp area, or if they're even with MedRec, you cannot ship out of state legally.
Right.
Hemp you can ship throughout the United States, but and then we've had a little bit, unfortunately, of infighting between MedRec and hemp right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of unfortunate challenges with being a fairly new industry, and the only reason we're a new industry is because of the reset, and because we're reset, unfortunately, we've probably lost 20,000 years of history and are just really trying to get it back on track in here in the last 20 years. So it's but I think you're right with the whole lounge concept. If you could have, if federally, when they legalize, they allow a grower to have a retail presence and a lounge attached, I think that's the way that I think it's really going to make attraction. You're right. You have to have your tasting room. You have to have tours. You could have outside tours of the facility, whatever you can to drag it in. Because right now the big fear is we're butting heads with big pharma, tobacco, and alcohol. They have way more support, way more money, way more lobbyists. So it's a very challenging uphill battle. But fortunately, the public's in favor, and I think if you look, I think it's 70% is the last of 70% of the population once cannabis legalized.
In fact, I'll give you an example, Holly. We have a show coming on to Weed and Whiskey as well called High on Tour, and they are doing cannabis tourism in California. So they take people out to the grow sites where they can, obviously, right, and show them, the back door of how all this stuff is grown in the field.
Cool.
And so, we'd love to. It's not available right now. They're in the process of recording it, but
okay.
The things that we're going to be looking at in terms of how do we communicate to the person at home who's interested in this whole thing, and if we can remove some of the stereotypes associated with cannabis, how do we provide really good education and experience?
Awesome. So we're coming to about the last 10 minutes of the show here. I just want to kind of go out on a high note. No pun intended. Well, there was a pun intended there. But what do you guys got going on? What do we need to know about before we exit? Bill, do you want to go first?
So what do we have going on? Boy, there's so
Anything
much
going on.
Oh yeah, no, we have so much going on. I know our 4th of July special just wrapped up, and we've got, as I mentioned, beverages, mushrooms, and then edibles are all really rocking right now. We are still, expanding our machines, working on improving the technology, making that a little bit more easier customer experience. And then really, I was going to say the most exciting thing we had going on today was the show.
Oh, you're hired.
Yeah, really.
Steve, what would you like to end on? What kind of note would you like to end on?
Yeah, we're excited if you're running a dispensary like Bill or others, and you want to get involved in offering coupons and using our medium to attract people to come visit your dispensary. Please reach out and let us know. We're also going to be doing an event at the end of July called the Stargazer Festival. So it's 3 days in the woods with fire art and music and everything else, and expecting almost 2,000 people. All cannabis friendly event. So we're looking forward to that at the end of the month. So very, very exciting time. So
I love
it. Bill, I'm not going to pull up in my smoking van. So there you go. But
no 60 ADW.
Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. Thank you guys so much for coming on our first episode ever. And there's nothing but good things ahead of us is what I'm seeing. And from what I can tell, you guys have a great evening and the rest of your week. And we'll see you next time.
Same to you. And thank you for having us on.
Thank you very much.